Deion Sanders decided to get in Twitter wars with college athletes this morning. It's embarrassing. So here's what happened. Austin Peay transfer Xavier Worthy was part of an expose in The Athletic about how Deion basically pushed players into the portal last year. And apparently Deion didn't even have the nerve to tell them to their face. He had his assistants tell them. And so Xavier Smith specifically was pushed in by Charles Kelly. We all know Charles Kelly. He was actually at Tennessee under Jeremy Pruitt for a minute. And so basically Xavier Smith refused to go to the portal. So he got cut. Okay. He ended up going to Austin Peay, and he's told this whole story. Shedeur Sanders retweeted that he had never heard of Xavier Smith after this Athletic article comes out. And he said he was obviously mid at best or something like that. And so that's how the beef started. Is Shedeur Sanders, by the way, who's going to be, you and I both agree, Dave, is a top 5 draft pick. And you're attacking a kid who was cut by a program that's now at an FCS school because he spoke to The Athletic about something.
I'm wondering if it gets to the point where he costs himself a spot or two, because you don't want your quarterback being the loud, talkative guy. You want him just even kill.
Exactly. I agree. And I was just going to talk about that today, guys. But
let's say it was Caleb Williams. I'm sorry to interrupt. Let's say it was Caleb Williams versus Shedeur Sanders. I like Sanders more as a player, but I would definitely consider his brashness when I was drafting him.
I would too. I absolutely agree. And so Caleb Williams has his own brashness, so that becomes a little bit tricky. But like when you start when you start taking shots at players who you know aren't going to make the money that you're going to make, it's like I just think that's on a level of bullying. Even if you are responding to what they were saying about your dad, I get it. I was just going to talk about that today, by the way. I was only going to talk about that. But it just got a lot more nuclear, Dave. And I mean a lot more nuclear. And Deion Sanders has crossed some serious lines as we've been on here. So basically, Caleb Mathis, who also plays for Colorado, responds to Shedeur Sanders and go, "You're right, he was mid," or something like that. Deleted the tweet, but not before Jaheim Ward, who also plays for Austin Peay, is now Xavier Smith's teammate, calls out Caleb Mathis about how he played last year. This is Twitter wars between players. Fine. Deion Sanders decided to get involved and retweeted somebody making fun of how little Jaheim Ward played last year, because Jaheim Ward was making fun of Jaheim Ward's lack of impact on Austin Peay. What head coach of a Power 5 program makes fun of a college athlete's lack of playing at an FCS school?
I think it's terrible. And as a matter of fact, I will take it a step further. Should the NCAA fine coaches for Twitter wars? I'll ask you that question, brought to you by Sports Treasures, carrying over 5 million sports treasures and so much more. Follow on Facebook for the best sports memorabilia, daily updates. Just go to Sports Treasures TN on Facebook and you are good to go. Caleb, I mean, they get fined if they criticize officials, don't they? They get fined for other stuff along the ways, recruiting infractions. To me, I would find somebody for this. If you have an employee which is essentially what Deion Sanders is of the NCAA in a roundabout way, that's making you look bad by attacking kids, you have to address that, don't you?
You absolutely have to address it. And Deion's been just on Twitter all morning, by the way. Someone told him that tell his son to stop acting like he's the coldest out here when he put up a 4-8 season. And Deion responds, he's going to be a top 5 pick. Where's your son going? I mean, this is what
is he doing this?
Deion always talked. I get it. You want to talk, but like you're talking to guys that are like anonymous Twitter accounts, and you're talking at players who are at Austin Peay. And it's like,
but Caleb too, you're also a 55-year-ish old man, and you're not that mid-20s guy. Use a little bit of foresight here.
Exactly. Now, it depends. What you talked about with Twitter wars, like, I'm not fully for it because, like, I love Lane Kiffin's tweeting. He's a great troll on Twitter. Lane Kiffin is hilarious on Twitter.
He is too subtle to get fined.
Exactly. Lane Kiffin's not going to make fun of a player at another college, though. I don't think as cutthroat as Lane Kiffin can be, do you think Lane Kiffin would ever publicly make fun of a player's production at a college? Ever?
No, absolutely not. He was a player's first type of coach as well. Now, once you crossed him, he was, and we've heard that through a secret audio tape. He's willing to chuck you pretty quick, but no,
but he's not going to publicly chuck you. He's not going to publicly attack the way you play. And this is what I'm saying. This is
who else would even consider that?
What other embarrassing?
Give me one other coach in college football that would consider attacking their player on Twitter.
No, not attacking their player, attacking a player at another school because that other player said some stuff about their program.
A former player. To me, that's
not even a former player. Not even a former player. A random player that chimed in about something.
Ouch.
This is really bad, right?
And I tried to make it sound better along the way for Deion, but I couldn't fix it.
No, this is a random player who got into a Twitter war with Shedeur Sanders because Shedeur Sanders attacked that random player's teammate after that random player's teammate attacked Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders decides to retweet a graphic making fun of that random player's lack of playing time last year at Austin Peay. I'm sorry, that's another level of embarrassing that, and I say this, and Dave, you said this too. We were not swept up either way in the Deion thing last year. We were not like, oh my gosh, he's going to flame out. And we were not like, he's going to go win national championships. We were like, you know what? We're going to judge him like we judge anybody else. And I thought Deion Sanders did a good job last year at Colorado. I think you do too.
Yep.
Going 4-8 from 1-11. But there were debates over, is what he's doing effective? Is it moral? Whatever, with the transfer portal, fine. And then I was going to debate that this morning with the Athletic Report. I was actually just going to want to talk about that and Shedeur Sanders going at this guy, Xavier Smith. But now we got to reroute. We had to reroute because Deion Sanders thought it appropriate to retweet an account making fun of a player's production that he's never coached at a small school.
Our message board nailed it. Look at Meade. He mentions Eli Drinkwitz. I could seriously see him doing that. That is the one guy. That is the one guy in the nation that I would say possibly. But maybe that's my own bias.
I mean, I attacked Butch Jones for lecturing Eric Stryker after losing to Oklahoma in 2015 because I thought that was embarrassing. Eric Stryker's not your player. You need to just go coach your team. Deion's publicly attacking a player on Twitter and publicly making fun of his lack of production on Twitter. I mean, that has never played for him. He never even had any ties to. That plays at Austin Peay, guys. This is one of the most pathetic, embarrassing. Yeah, Deion's in a pathetic midlife crisis right now. And honestly, I've fully jumped off the Deion train. This is embarrassing what he's doing.
All right. So our poll question stands at, what is Tennessee's best recruiting tool? Culture, 41%, followed by NIL, 32%, legacy, and facilities with 9% and 18% respectively. Want to remind everyone to please join Hooker's Corner, where you will be able to win fantastic prizes and get some recruiting information as well. As a matter of fact, recruiting analysis column went up this morning, so please join. We'd greatly appreciate that. Also, it's your best way to interact with me and Caleb on a regular basis, which we look forward to, as well as all kinds of big, new, exciting things happening at Off the Hook Sports. Again, I want to thank Sports Treasures, as Friday we will be giving away an autographed John Henderson helmet among those that are members. So you do have to be a paid member to win those prizes, but you also get access to our recruiting information. You get a ton. So we would love for you to be a part of Hooker's Corner, just $9.98 a month. Why do I say 98? Because 1998. Caleb, anything else you would like to add about Deion Sanders?
I just think that I don't know if I'm going nuclear enough on him for what he did today. And if any other coach did this, I mean, I don't want to bring race into it, but like I think Deion Sanders is providing cover for a lot of the abuses of players that we called out for a long time with coaches. We've talked, you know this, Dave. There's a racial undertone where you see a lot of white coaches, white administrators, white institutions mistreat primarily black athletes. And now we're seeing Deion do it to an incredibly higher degree. And I think and we're letting it slide. And it's going to provide cover for other administrators and coaches who want to do that in the future. And that's a problem.
Yep. And that stuff will come back to bite you. They won 3 games last year? Four? Okay.
Yeah.
If you win 4, not this year, but next year or the year after that, this type of stuff comes back to bite you. Just like, what was it? The trash can of destiny that Butch Jones had?
Yes. The trash can. And what Deion just did is more immature than what Deion just did is more pathetic and embarrassing than anything Butch Jones did his entire time at Tennessee.